Hello there. Welcome to the Man Up Podcast. This is episode 2. I've got to start off today with an apology because I'm about 2 weeks late and posting episode 2, and I promised you in episode 1 that I'd post weekly. Variants of reasons. The last 3 weeks have just been absolutely manic with business and trying to open the park up, and just you wouldn't believe the amount of stuff going on at the moment, that just trying to find the time. And I'm pretty good at time boxing. I try and time box everything to fit everything in, but I just kept bumping recording and bumping it, and just not being able to get around to it then in the end, which, look, I know is not ideal, and I apologize. And for you guys out there that are quite keen, and I've had some people message me going, where's episode 2? What's episode 2 about? I got some great stuff lined up for you guys, some great guests coming on the podcast in future episodes that I'm just trying to tie down who is going to come on. But I thought what I'd do today is talk about me a little bit and tell you my background just a little bit, so you understand why I do the podcast and who I do, who I am, what I've done, if you don't know me already. So I'm sat in an office at the moment, going to record this early in the morning before my day starts. We're just trying to get to a point where I can get this out weekly. But look, my name is Lee. And I've been in business and sort of sales and hospitality and fitness, and you wouldn't think fitness with me at the moment, but for about 20 odd years. So I grew up in a nice little Welsh Valley village in a place called Pont-on-Fife. Lived in a few places before that. Lived in Porthcawl, lived in Cambridge, lived in a place called Markham, but Pont-on-Fife is where I probably set roots and grew up. Lived majority with my mum. My dad was away a lot. Left home probably about 14, 15 to live with my sister because of certain things. And then did okay in school. Worked from the age of probably 12. And you name it, I did it. Paper rounds, milk round, Betterware, Avon, scratch cards, DVDs. When you could chip your computer years ago, I used to do that sort of stuff in school. Sweets in school, anything I could do to make money I would do from probably the age of 12 up until the age of 16. Left school. College wasn't for me. Knew it wasn't. Knew it was university. Went straight into work. And then, played rugby around those times as well. So I played semi-professional rugby. Went into work, worked in a factory, worked in care. Couldn't really work out what I enjoyed. Then, while I was playing rugby, got my, started working on the doors. As a security doorman, as a bouncer, if you want to call it that. Loved that. One of the best jobs in the world. Did that, and then one day stumbled across somebody that come into my house and said, I think I was 17, been through loads of jobs, didn't know what I wanted. Anglian Windows knocked the door, got talking to the guy that was trying to sell windows, and I was like, can't be hard what you do. And he's like, well, prove it. Here's the street, go and give me some leads. And that's what I did. I went knocking doors, and that's what got me into sales. Is knocking on doors and trying to get people to book appointments to have their windows done for Anglian Windows. That's my first flurry into sales. After that, I've done everything from selling gas and electric, door to door, selling Sky TV, selling slot TVs when you used to put a pound in. I've sold houses, I've sold insurance. Sales was where I was. That's my background. Also done a bit of singing. Can't sing, but did a bit of singing as an Elvis tribute. And then from there, I realised that the agents that I worked with wasn't great. Had a couple of kids along the way, met my ex-wife, and realised I could probably do this better. And decided to become an agent. And decided to launch a security company. So I did both at the same time. So started off in the old cliche on the phone, on a mobile phone with the Yellow Pages, because Google was quite young back in 2007, 2008, I think. Just ringing venues, sending letters out to venues, ringing them, and then turning up and going, I can give you the best entertainment, I can do whatever you need, really selling a dream to them. And then doing that, and then built a pretty good entertainment agency up, quite good, quite well established. Would use my ex-wife as sort of like the lead person because she had a great voice. And then we did that for a few years. Did all right in that. Opened a music school and a club at one point, so I've done that as well. Then I started hosting a radio show, Breakfast, with a girl called Jess G, superb person, love her to bits. Did that, continued to build a business, security and ents, and then had the opportunity to open a gym in Swansea for a national company called Exercise Less. So went in as a sales manager. Some stories I can tell you, but I'll just keep it brief for this. Went in as a sales manager, had 6 weeks to train a team and open on 4,000 members. We opened on 4,500 members, and then took that within 6 months to 8,500 members, where we sort of like sustained it then, because people come and go. Was a sales manager there for a while. Business is still running in the background. Then progressed to general manager, then regional business manager, and so on with that company. Did a lot of the sales training there, trained a lot of staff, opened a lot of other gyms there as well. Had a really good connection with some of the other regional managers there. We had a really good team, and then decided that me and my ex-wife then split in 2018. Decided that wasn't going to work anymore. 3 kids there, so the businesses sort of like sold them off. So did that, and then left Exercise Less because they made they were making redundancies. Went to a company called DW Fitness first. Was a regional business manager there for a while. Turned regions around, I was a bit of a fixer, same as Exercise Less. I'd go into a region or a health club that was really failing, and then I'd turn it around, get the staff ready, and I'd move on to the next one. That was my speciality as a fixer. Then went to DW Fitness first, then lockdown happened, realised working for somebody else really wasn't for me at that time, so I then decided to leave and buy into a business with my best mate, facility and maintenance company. Took that to lengths, heights that we never thought we could, which was massive, really successful, massive clients. Decided then that me and him decided then that was us. We'd had enough, and then I did another security business. Still then relaunched another entertainment company, which I'm currently running now, with a consultancy firm and a couple of gyms and stuff like that, all going on at the same time. And then decided to come in and look at holiday parks and start helping them running them. So that's me in a nutshell. Been around a long time. My expertise, my background is probably building successful teams from within, making them to a standard. And then I'm one of these people though, when I've hit everything I can hit, when I can get to where I want to get, I'm done. I need the next challenge. So at the moment, running a couple of businesses, plus holiday parks, and that's where I've been the last 3 weeks, really getting this holiday park ready to open. So we're good, taking on my big thing is taking on multiple projects and making sure them all come together. So that's what I've done. So I'm a self-confessed, but also been told by all my previous partners that I'm a workaholic. I tend to do that a lot. I throw myself into work, I throw myself into everything, and I sometimes don't know when to stop, which is, I'm not saying that's healthy, but that's how I've become successful. I live for the stress and the buzz and the pressure. I live for that. That's what I want. I'm not saying that's for everybody, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Management's not for everybody. Some people like to come in, do their job and leave. And I get that. That's that is what it is. Where it is there, isn't it? So, but we are in a great position where I love it. But sometimes the partners I've been with haven't understood it, and they don't get it. And when you're looking at relationships, you really need to look at what fits right for you, what does well for you. The relationships you're in and the people around you have to get who you are, and have to get what it is in your head that you're trying to achieve. Because if you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't understand the way you are and the way you work, and that you're an entrepreneur. So, I might be finishing this job, but I want to do this job, and I got this business and I want to launch that, and I want to launch this. And just today, the day I'm recording this podcast, I've got 2 Teams calls with 2 other business ventures that potentially could come off. So I'm like, I love to be on the go all the time. And my downtime is when I go away. Downtime for me is not really in the house, and it probably should be. And I'm working really hard at the moment of when I'm switching off, when I get home and I'm with my partner, trying to switch off and have that conversation, not about work, not about business, but just me and them time. The trouble with that is it's not as easy as it looks, and I'm really working on it. We use this app now that we communicate via. It's a sort of it's one question a day thing, and you can be really honest in it and not and have a conversation. But for me, it's really about understanding the other person, and that's very hard in a relationship. Even if you've been with someone a long time, a year, whatever it is, 10 years, it's hard to understand someone else's passion if you don't get it, and that's where relationships sometimes break down. So that's a key thing for me. The other thing for me is gratefulness. So I've learned over the last couple of weeks, you can't please, well, not even last couple of weeks, couple of years, but really the last couple of weeks since I've come into this, what I'm doing now, you can't please everybody. So you can bend over backwards and do everything you want, but you'll always have someone that whinges. So if you deal, for example, with 500 people a day, where I sometimes do, or 500 things a day, if you have 5 people complain, that's not a big thing, but you will only focus on those 5 people because they've complained. You won't focus on the other 495 people that haven't complained. And sometimes I can get you down, and then you're like, oh, I can't bother. Why am I bothering? Why am I doing this? Why do I try so hard? Why have I just worked the last 7 days to make people happy? You will have that. That'll come out to you, and you're like, I don't understand why I do it. But you've got to take the positives, take the little wins, and take the positive out of things, because we as a society suck so much life out of each other by focusing on the negative. I'm at a point now where I'm like, do you know what? People want to talk rubbish about me on the internet and on social media. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me. Come and have a sit down, let's have a conversation, right? What happens is we focus on that. Why is that one whatever person said those bad things when I've done all this? I've dealt with a person, I won't say from what business, that doesn't like a decision I made, so decided to slate me on this massive group on social media. Now, I could go on there and defend myself, but then what happens then? It comes into an argumentative comments war, and some people are side with me. That's too much. That sucks too much life out of me. I haven't got time for it. The honest answer is I physically don't have the time to argue with somebody about something that I've already made the decision on. Now, I'll never make a decision based on my own needs only. All my business decisions are based on the business and the people around me. So if it benefits a business and it benefits my team, then I'll make a decision. Whether somebody on the outside, which might be a client or a customer or anything, likes that, I can't worry about that too much, because I've got to worry about the business and the team. The client and the customer 100% are important, and I'll take their opinion, but sometimes the decision has to be made regardless. And I had a conversation with my wider management team this week, and I said, don't take it personally when people leave. People leave. They leave you, they leave businesses. Don't take it personally. As long as you can look in the mirror and go, I've trained this person, I've offered them development, I've offered them progression, we pay them okay or well, I've done everything I can with this person, but they still want to go. Sometimes leaving is the best thing for them. Sometimes leaving a job and finding something else is good, because people will not always stay with you forever. So you need to look at people and go, have I done everything for that person? Okay. I've always had a rule. If someone comes to me and go, Liam, I'm leaving, I'm looking for another job, I'll always go, okay, what's the job? Talk me about the job. I won't say, why are you leaving? What can I do to keep you? I'll say to them, talk me about the job. What is the job that you are looking to go into? Talk to me about that. And if I sit there and say to them, look, I think it's a great idea for you, I'll say to them, it's a great idea. It's progression, you're doing really well. Let's move forward. I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's do it now. I'll give you a reference. If I don't think that job's right for them, I'll also tell them that. Are you sure this is the right thing for you? Why? What's the reasons you're doing it? And if it's something that I can do to help them to make their job with me better, of course, no one wants people to leave, but people leave. And if people get, because you never know, they could go, get the skills they need there, and in 5 years' time might come back. You know, I've been in a position where I work for somebody, and then 5 years later, they've come to an open day for a recruitment day for a job for me, and it's somebody I used to work for. But because they supported me and understood why I left at one point, I'm like, wait, do you know what I mean? It swings around, and every industry, everybody says, oh, it's such a small industry. Every industry is a small industry. Every world's a small world. Everybody will know somebody that knows somebody if you stay in the same area. I tend to travel a lot when I work, so you know I know people all over. But you gotta think that if people leave and it's right for them, it's right for them. Now, the only time you should worry is if people leave because you treat them badly. If you treat them badly and you don't look after them, you don't respect what they do, then you should worry, because that is an issue. But don't. If you've done everything you can as a business, as a company, you're true to your values, because sometimes we keep people in jobs and then that compromises our values. And sometimes we keep people in jobs because we think, oh, this is a really nice person, but the job's not right for them. So we, rather than change into another job or have a conversation with them about, look, it's not right for you, it's not working out. What we tend to do is keep them there, and then it demotivates everybody else around us. And then what happens then? The problem you have then is, you have a demotivated person because you've got a couple of people that shouldn't be there. And another thing I said to my wider team going into, you know, we're coming into Q2 now, so we really need to push, you know, everything now. And let's not beat around the bush. Business is about making money. As much as I want to love my team, and I do, and my team are always looked after, we need to make money. So if they don't understand that, then I don't know what else they need. You know, perhaps they shouldn't be an entrepreneur. But I've also said to them, does the people in your team add value? Or have we got people, what I call neg ferrets, that are just there? And they'll find the negative in everything. They're there just for a paycheck. And some people that's okay with. But in my business, everybody we employ should add value. Whether it's a cleaner, or whether it's a salesman, or whether it's an ops person, or whether it's a food person or a marketeer, they should all add value. And when you do your setups and your meetings, they should come away with value. And you should, if someone's in your team and they're causing nothing but negative and stress, a conversation is needed, and you find out why that is. And if they hate their job that much, find out why that is, and maybe go, actually, I think we are better off finding you a different role, or maybe you should, you know, it's, as a leader and as an entrepreneur, or as a if you want to call it manager, don't like that word really, you really need to be able to have difficult conversations and sit down and go, what's going on? This is not working for me. It's not working for you. I met with a contractor this week and I went, there's some sort of issue between us, my team and your team. Let's sit down, let's be grown-ups about it, and let's get it out there. And let's find out. Because, you know, there's so much negativity in the world. I can't have it when I work. I know if there's an issue between us and a contract. And I said to him, have we paid you? Yes. Okay, have we given you enough work? Yes. So what is the problem? Let's have a conversation. And we did. We went for a walk, we had a conversation. You know, I don't sit behind a desk very often, I like to walk and talk. So we did that. Yeah, so you just need to really make sure that, you know, for me, it's the value in you, and the value in your team, and the value that they give. And if you know, people leave, the value, you know, and if the people that don't leave need to add value, otherwise everybody comes into work dreading. I don't dread going to work. I love my job. I was in the office last night till about 8 o'clock. I was back in the office early this morning. You know, I love what I do. I love my job. I love everything else. So yeah, it's really key that that happens as well. And that reflects me, brings out the sport a little bit. Like the back and forth at the moment between Tyson Fury and Usyk. And I get it's all promotion and stuff, but wow, can you imagine working for them? What negativity is going on there, man? But, you know, that should be a great fight. You know, last time we spoke, United have been smashed 7-0. They've had a couple of good results since. I'm a Spurs fan, so I can't really say a lot. We haven't done great. And Wales didn't have a great Six Nations. They were quite poor. But what I will say about it is, we got better for the tournament. I thought we played really well against France. And, you know, Warren Gatland's come out and gone, some of my team need to leave. And as we said, this will be their last Six Nation game. Some of my team need to leave. We need to look at a different model, a different way of working. And that you can take that sport element and put that into business. But also, I had a meeting on last Saturday with about 40 to 50 people about the way they speak to my team. And I started the meeting off with, look, we want the relationship to be between you guys and my team amazing. But I've got the mental health well-being of my team to worry about, and I got my team wanted to come into work and actually do a good job to worry about. So my conversation with these group of people were, you treat everybody with respect. You don't shout at them, you don't scream at them because they've been told to end the call. You don't have an argument with them, and you don't disrespectful to them, because I wouldn't have my team be disrespectful to anybody. So my argument would be, if someone's rude and disrespectful to you, at the end of the day, what I try to get across to these people was, at the end of that phone, at the end of that email, is a human being. And that human being has feelings too. So regardless of what their job is, they feel stuff. And they go home at night after working all day, and have to deal with it and have to process everything that's happening that day. Now, we put things in place to help our team, but the problem you got is some customers and clients and stuff don't understand the effect it has on the team member when they're being shouted at, when they're doing the best they can. And I was very honest and direct with them. I went, if it continues and we get any more abuse from anybody, I'll pull the plug. Because the mental health well-being of my team is really important, and it's really, and I don't want it to be affected. And you guys got to look at that as well. You also got to look at work-life balance, and I'm going to put this in there because I know if I don't, I'm going to get pulled up on it. I don't mind working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. As I said just now, I thrive on it. That's not for everybody. And you've got to understand sometimes that's not for your team. Some of your team want to work 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours, whatever it is. You've got to respect that, but you've got to find those boundaries when you're interviewing at interview stage. Because if you want someone will not always run at the same pace as you. And I'm still tweaking that now. Because what happens is we tend to really push our teams to the limit. And then what happens there is some of them are like, whoa, I can't do this job. Now, some jobs don't need, the reason I work so many hours is because I'm spinning so many different plates, but I thrive on it. You may have a team member or someone that works for you that's happy doing 20 hours and then going home. Nothing wrong with that. That's up to them. As long as they're happy and their job's happy and everything else. So really try and understand, this is where one-to-ones are really important. I say to my wider team all the time, have you done a one? If they come to me with an issue and they say, got an issue with this person, have you done a one-to-one? Have you addressed it? Do you know, is there anything going on? And if they say no, I go, right, you need to go back and do that first. Because those times that I'm very strict with appointments. I do appointments only. Because the time that I want to have with this person, that whether it's a team member, a client, anything else, is set aside as a specific time. And in that time, my attention is all on them. There's no distractions, there's no phones or nothing, because I've got for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, I've got time for them. And what I would normally say to someone, I've got 15 minutes, I'd normally give them 20, half an hour. But if they think you only got 15, but if you don't give them a time, you say, I'm busy now. That's key. And the reason I do that is to give them the time that they need. And I encourage all of my wider team to do the same. Now, you're all going to lose people, and people are not going to be happy, and not everybody's going to like what you do. Ultimately, if you're the head of that business, you have to make decisions that are difficult. And I've had to make redundancies. I've had to close gyms. I've had to go in and investigate people and suspend people. That comes with the territory. And if you've got management team that are not used to that, you really need to support them more, because they won't be used to it, and it'll really affect them mentally, because they could have worked with this person for 20 years. Then I've had to let family members go, my best mate. I've had to do all that. And it's never easy, but I tend to be the one to do it, because I go in, it's very business-like, and once the meeting's done, I then say to the person, look, we'll support what we can, but business decision has been made, sort of thing. So I'm going to end on a positive note. I promise you, get these out weekly. I'm going to get these out weekly to you going forward. I'm going to try and record them on a Sunday. You may get them when I'm recording them in the car because I do quite a bit of driving, so it's quite easy for me to do it. Some good news and positive news as well. These are also going to be on Spotify, Apple Music, and Apple Podcasts. So the audio of these will go up onto that as well. The videos are still on YouTube. Man Up Podcast, if you can give me a like, please, I would really appreciate it. So on there. Then you've got, I'm on Instagram, Man Up Podcast, or Podcast Man Up, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter. Get on there. You'll keep sending me your messages and stuff because I always reply, or I answer here. If you could do that, it's fantastic. Got some great guests coming up. I've got some business people. I got general managers. I've got a sports person. I'm not going to say who that is yet. I've got a loose woman. I've got a CEO. I've got loads of people coming up on these as well. So some of them will just be me talking to you. But do you know what? It's not really talking to you because I don't, whether someone's listening or not, I don't really know because I like to get these thoughts out of my head. I write them all down in my diary. I work with 3 diaries, as you can see. I write them all down there, and I try and get everything down, and then it gets out as part of my journaling. It helps me, as Stephen Bartlett says, like therapy. But I've got some great guests coming on as well. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it if you're listening. If you wasn't listening and you just thought I talk rubbish, I appreciate that as well because everybody's entitled to opinion. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.